Hey, beautiful people, welcome to my channel, The Fog Philosopher, where we talk peace of mind, mental health, and being your best self. Hi, my beautiful people, welcome to another episode with me, Masi Anyango, and today we'll be talking about the power of words. As always, let's get right into it. If you like something, if you learn something, if I just entertain you, kindly like, share, subscribe, and comment. It will be much appreciated. So the power of words, and what I really like to bring out in this channel is consciousness to our environment, consciousness to our thoughts, consciousness to our actions. And today we'll be bringing consciousness to our words. Do we actually stop and think before we say the things we say? Do we realize how much power our words actually have on our reality? Do we realize how much power our words have on the way we feel, on the way we see the world, on our perspective, on our perception, of our world and of our reality? Most of the times we speak from an unconscious point, from the subconscious mind. We speak without really thinking about what we're saying, without really seeing the power of what we are saying. And that's why sometimes we end up speaking negatively to others, to ourselves. We end up speaking negatively about others and about ourselves. So today we'll just go through some of the ways we can be more conscious in our speech and realize how much power words actually have on our reality and on our sense of self. So when you speak something and say something random, just someone mentions an event, someone mentions something, and you say something like, I can't go for that, or I can't afford that, or I'm not the type of person to be invited to such places. So the moment you speak out those words, you've already put them into the universe. So you have now affirmed that you cannot afford to go for that event. You are not the type of person to be invited to such events. And now the vibration of those words has gone into the universe, and now that becomes your reality simply because you spoke the words. And I believe that is why silence is one of the laws of power, and that is why silence is greatly suggested by the spiritual leaders and all the book writers and all the TED talkers. So the reason why silence is greatly emphasized is because the less you speak, the less you can speak negatively against your own reality. So words have really a lot of weight, a lot of power, especially in our thoughts, in shaping our realities. So the first thing is to bring consciousness to your words. Before we say anything, we need to take a second, pause before we say something. And it is not easy. As someone who likes to talk, to be honest, it is not easy. I end up saying things which I wish I could take back, but once you've spoken the words, taking them back is impossible. So we need to learn how to consciously speak, and that comes with a lot of pausing, a lot of silence, a lot of thought process before we speak. So number one is just bringing consciousness to our words and bringing consciousness to our speech before we open our mouths to utter anything. So number two is actual use of silence. So as I mentioned, silence is very powerful, and it can help with speech. It can help with learning to measure what we say and avoiding to say things that we cannot take back. Words are very powerful, both to ourselves and to others. When you say something to someone, it can completely change the course of their life. One negative statement can kick someone who's already down to a point where they can never recover. One positive statement can change someone from a very bad place in their life to a very good place. So if you find yourself that you have nothing good to say about yourself or about others, then silence is your best option. choose silence where you have nothing good to say about yourself and about another human being. And when it comes to passing criticism, feedback, advice, learn to keep quiet when you have not been in the person's shoes. If you really know nothing about what they're going through, silence is also your best option. We don't always have to give advice. We don't always have to say anything. Sometimes silence is just the best medicine, even for someone who wants to be heard, someone who just needs a listening ear. So the power of words lies in silence in most situations. So the third way to see how powerful words are is to learn to write down our thoughts. And that's why we have music, that's why we have songs that are very, very powerful. We have songs that can literally change your mood, because words are extremely powerful, especially put together with beats and all that. But here we're just focusing on the words. So write down what you'd want to say before you say it. Sometimes if it's a hard conversation, if it's an important conversation, if it's a sketchy conversation, something that you really don't know how to utter to this person, write it down. When you write down the words, you can be able to feel the power they carry before you say them to someone, before you even say them to yourself. Sometimes even writing down what you'd want to say to yourself is very important, so that you can find the feeling behind the words before you say them to yourself. We can talk to ourselves and end up being very, very critical, very mean, very rude, but if you write it down, it removes most of that power. And when it comes time to actually speak these words to yourself or to someone, then you'll be able to speak them with the right energy, with the right vibration. So learn to write down your words so that you can see the power in which they actually carry. And the fourth one, last but not least, is the manifestation power of words. So definitely, if you're in this time and age, you've heard about manifesting and changing your reality and all those things, and most of it lies in the words that you speak. If you wish for something, you really want something, but you're speaking negatively against it, it takes longer for it to manifest. So if you are desiring something internally, if your thought process is, okay, I want this new job, if your thought process is, I want this car, your thought process is, I want this relationship status, but the moment you speak, you utter something different from that. You utter negatively in terms of the job you want, the car you want, the relationship you want, then you create a negative vibe to your own thoughts. So your words should align with your thoughts. Your words should align with your wishes. Your words should align with your dreams. Your words should align with your ambitions. So if you want that job, say, yes, I already have it, or I will get it, or it is part of my reality. If you want that relationship, say, I'm already married, or my person is coming. If you want the car, say, I'm already driving. Say that, I own such and such. So be in support of your own dreams with your words. Never be the one criticizing your own manifestations, your own goals, especially verbally. The moment you release something with words, means you believe in what you're saying. The universe takes it as you believe in what you're saying, and if you say it, then that is what it will do. So learn to gear your words Learn to speak words that are in alignment with your goals, with your visions, with your dreams, with your manifestations, whatever you want to call it. So speak well of yourself. And as we've said, if you have nothing good to say, keep quiet. If you may be going through depression, you're going through a negative phase in your life, keep quiet. That is not the time to talk, because you might put things in your universe that you don't mean or you don't want there, just because you're in a negative phase or you're not feeling the best. So when you're not feeling the best, just learn to keep quiet. And I have really been through a negative phase, and I remember most of the things I spoke to others and to myself were really, really negative. So what I learned from that is that when you're going through depression, when you're going through a hard time, just learn or practice to keep quiet. It might not be easy because you really want to lash out. You're angry at whoever you believe in, you're angry at your circumstances, and you will most probably use your words to lash out at yourself, at others. So if you can practice silence, especially when things are going well, it'll be so much easier when things take a different turn. As I always say, the wheel always turns, but your words don't have to. Your circumstances will always change one way or another. You will always be presented with challenges, but your words do not have to follow suit. Your thoughts do not have to follow suit. Your internal state does not have to change with your circumstances. So learn to measure your words, learn to practice silence. Know consciously the power of what you say. And once you know that, then you become really aware of how you speak and what you speak. So thank you for joining me on yet another episode. If you learned something, if you just enjoyed the video, kindly like, share, subscribe, and comment. It would be much appreciated. I'd like to know whether you believe the words are powerful, whether you believe that you can actually curse someone and derail the course of their life, whether you can curse yourself, whether you can bless others or yourself through words, and what you really think about the power of words in your reality. So thank you guys once again, and